All right. Welcome to Authentic Imprint Live. I'm so excited to have Dominique Glanville with me today. Today's a big day, Dominique. This was a passion project of mine to write a book, and it launched today. And I am so thrilled to have you here with me as we talk about the book. But not only that you've agreed to let me coach you as we talk through the book. So the book is called The Internal Revolution. It's how to lead authentically and build your personal brand from within. Thanks, Dominique.
I'm so excited for you, Dana. This is such a big
Yes,
day. It's an amazing
yes.
book.
And I want today, all of you that are listening in, I want you to know that we want to hear from you. You can pop questions in the comment section, pop those in, we'll listen. This is a moment in time I want all of you to think about, because when you have a goal and you visualize it and it happens, you're kind of just in shock. I think I'm in shock today that this is actually happening. So I'm also thrilled to have Dominique here. Dominique, I would love for you to introduce yourself. I know you're a female founder, a mom of three, busy wife, doing a lot in your community. But talk to our audience here about who you are. Give an insight about who you are and what you do every day.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, Dana. So my name is Dominique Glanville, and I live in Dallas-Fort Worth, and I started my company about 8 years ago. We do strategy and marketing consulting for mostly B2B businesses. And when I'm not at work, I am keeping 3 children alive and thriving. So it's a full house over here. And I've been married to Dan for 15 years. So we'll celebrate 15 years in a couple weeks. And volunteer a lot in my church, and I'm just very involved trying to not kill my vegetable garden these days. So
Your
yeah.
vegetable garden. I've seen pictures. And what I love about you, Dominique, is I see your authentic self on LinkedIn all the time. You're sharing the ups and downs of life, the good
Yeah.
and bad, your stories, your travels, the gardening stories,
Yeah.
or the ups and downs. And one of the things that I hope, as you all learn more about the internal revolution, and we're going to talk about an assessment that I had Dominique take. It's a free assessment. It's called the Authentic Imprint Assessment. It's free, and I'll put a link in the show notes here, and that you can also see. But I want to make sure that everybody knows that when you're living in your authenticity, it's just so easy. You don't have to try hard. And this book is about not being more productive. It's about being more you. And so, Dominique, as we get going today, can you tell me what would be one thing that you would like to work on today as we talk through some of these principles in the book?
Yeah, so I really enjoyed taking the assessment, and there are some key areas there: knowing your strengths, really knowing your core values, really knowing your mission statement, and having those work in harmony. I'm probably leaving some out. Oh, emotional intelligence as well, right, Dana? And the piece that I scored the lowest on was just really clarity around my mission statement. And I feel like I'm in a real season right now where I've been innovating and trying some new things, and like observing like what felt authentic to me, what felt like it was working, that sort of thing. And I'm getting the sense that in the next season, I'm really going to be making some shifts, and I want to have more clarity around that mission statement. So I'm going to be bringing on a business coach in the next few weeks, and we'll be doing an on-site next month. Really excited about that. And I think based on your assessment, I really want to make sure that I hone in on that mission statement piece. But I want to do it in a strengths-based way. Like, how do I take the strengths that I have and the way that I scored as an authentic builder from this and use those to guide me in how to get more clear on my mission statement? Would just be really curious about that.
I love that. There is a formula inside the book, and it's called the Authentic Imprint Formula. And it's basically your strengths, which we use Clifton Strengths here, plus your core values, plus your mission times your emotional recognition. So what Dominique is talking about, when she took the assessment, she saw she scored pretty high as authentic builder, as a leader, but there were some opportunities there around mission statement, which I found interesting because you have such high core values.
Mm.
And what we know is most business leaders, they know their company's mission statement, which you probably have a company mission statement. You probably have some core values. But what we find is most individuals don't know their personal mission statement. and their core values. So you're 75% of the way there. So when you think about a mission statement, what do you think about for yourself? What comes to mind for you when you think about Dominique's mission statement and this season of life?
Um, well, I'm moving from, I think that the first several years that you build a business and build a team are really all encompassing. And I think that I've been really career focused in my last several years and have still been able to show up fully as a parent. But I'm just realizing my kids are growing super fast and they still want me around. And they're actually really fun now. They're all potty trained. They're all like able to talk and articulate, and they just want to hang out. And I want to be more mentally and emotionally available for them in the coming years. And so I'm trying to reconcile how to be I'm a very innate like achiever and like a driven person, but I know that in this next season, I need to allow for more margin and balance, especially in the emotional and mental load, just for me personally. And so I think that's something that I'm trying to work through in my personal mission statement, and even as it relates to the company and how we serve our clients, that I can't do that at the expense of me, my emotional well-being, and my ability to show up in other areas of my life.
So I hear some powerful strengths at work there. What I want to do is take you into the formula.
Okay.
So let's talk about your top 5 strengths. Can you share those with the audience?
Yeah, sure. So my top strength is individualization, then communication, then belief, strategic, and responsibility.
Okay. So you have individualization, number 1. That's a customizer. So you probably, if you're going into a room of people, you're not just telling everybody the same thing. You're going and sitting down and having a unique conversation with different people.
Yeah.
In the green room, you told me you had a unique situation last week at a conference. Can you talk about that? Because that shows your individualization right there.
Yeah. So I was at a conference and there was a lot of networking, happening at this conference. And there was a panel, and I had asked kind of an authentic, vulnerable question on the panel about kind of the intersection of professional and personal life. And then there was a lunch for people who had viewed the panel and participated on the panel afterwards. And I ended up in this conversation with this gentleman, and we just were able to connect on a much deeper level, because first we had the common core value of showing up big time in our family, and not having career at the expense of really deep and authentic and great relationships at home with our kiddos. And then it came to like really deep conversation about how we could collaborate, what he does on his clients and what I do on mine. And I felt like the conversation was so much more fruitful and meaningful and enjoyable. And I got to know him as an individual and him, me, in such a way that it was like, oh, I can see us collaborating. And so often in networking, it's like you get to know people about this much, And I think as I've explored my core values, I really think curiosity and like depth. I can do surface level. You can probably tell, like I'm pretty bubbly. I can do that. But I really get a lot of energy and fulfillment from really diving deep into who people are, really getting to know them and understanding how I can really help and be personal, like make things personal with people. Yeah. And so I think that's going to be a part of my journey and my mission, whatever I'm doing. Right?
Yeah. You're going to be weaving that into your mission statement.
Yeah.
That is going to be a big piece of that, because it showed up number 1. So when you took the Clifton Strengths Assessment, that is number 1. Number 2 for you is communication, which is the storytelling, the story you just told.
Yeah.
With you need to be in a situation where you're verbally processing, and why speaking for you is great, why getting in situations where you can go and even speak from your cuff. You can do that because you are a great storyteller, but you also, these are about managing your energy and not your time. So as a busy mom, I really want to help you get focused on every day. This is why we call it Dominate Your Day and a daily work, because it's, what have I got on my plate today? Which strength am I going to use? And which one's going to boost me for energy today? For you, if you're got an opportunity to go meet a bunch of people, that's going to give you all kinds of energy.
Yeah.
But then you're going to use your individualization. What I also heard in that story was your belief. and your belief is your core values that are unwavering. And that's how you make decisions. So one of the things I heard you talk about just then was family, and how family was real important to you. You would be surprised. I worked with a chemical company a couple months ago, and high executives, and they came up with family as one of their key core values. They did their individual core values and then as a team, and what they wanted their team core values to be, and family came up. And it's coming up more and more. I think years ago people were afraid to mention that. As we say, we're transferring, the workplace culture is changing. So thinking about your core values. In the book, there's a whole section with a core values chart and how you can pick your core values and then be able to articulate those. I've taken mine from my
I've got it open right here, actually.
Yay!
I mean, I'm a consultant and I'm like checking boxes, right? I love a good chart, right?
Okay, so are there some you're checking off right now besides?
Yeah, I think I might have too many though.
Well, what I tell people to do is check off 15 and then narrow it down to 5.
No, that's good.
And then prioritize them. You don't have to do them all right now, but if there's some that are popping for you, those are going to be important as you build your mission statement.
Yeah, I mean, mine, just looking at, I had the first 3 columns that I was working through. So family, generosity, trustworthiness, authenticity, in column 2, courage. And then I had curiosity. I was also thinking about beauty too. I think I'm someone that I just am very, like, I like to curate and create beauty and cultivate beauty around me and my clients and the work that we do in our home, like all those kinds of things. So I don't know if it would be a core value, but I think it's something that tends to differentiate how I see the world from other people. And so maybe it's more of a perspective, but I don't know.
It could be beauty. It could be excellence.
Excellence, maybe. Yeah.
Because I look at your bookshelf behind you and everything's organized and and I remember when I first met you, like 5 years ago, we were on a call. I think it was with StoryBrand or something. Yeah. And I was like, wow, she's got a cool background. Those things speak to you. That's why I'm saying living authentically and building your personal brand from within, because your personal brand shows up whether you plan it or not. People create that for you. But even just in your Zoom, we had a HOA meeting recently and people weren't turning on their cameras. And I was like, oh my gosh, that tells me you're hiding from something. And I've even heard you in a call say, would you mind turning on your camera? There's some companies that let people not have their camera on. And while we respect that, it's important to, even if they don't, if they let them not do that, it would be important as a person that's building their authentic brand to have their camera on.
Always. Yeah.
So that's excellent, right? So that's like showing up in your best self. I loved how you brought up authenticity too, and being you, and how you were open to be vulnerable today and just work through this. So I heard some good things. So when you think through your core values and you think through your strengths, the other strength besides belief I see, because you talked about your strengths in the beginning, is you've got strategic. So strategic sees the paths. They see the patterns. And we talk about, I'm a Clifton strengths coach, but one of the things we talk about a lot is that each of these strengths have a help and a hindrance, right? So strategic, you can see the path so easily, but those on your team might not be able to see it. We think they see it, because I have strategic. And I've had to tell my team, oh, we've switched to plan B now. And because we can quickly shift patterns.
Yeah.
So we just have to bring people along with us when we're shifting.
Yeah.
Right? So has that happened? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I actually had a situation yesterday where I had our team meeting yesterday morning and we're going through some different transitions, and I was kind of praying about it a little bit as I was like driving back to my house for the meeting. And I got this vision of like, okay, the team needs to be able to like be nimble and go with the flow, but not feel like it's turbulent. And so I was able to paint this picture for them. I was like, we've been on dry land. Now we're in a river between 2 bodies of land. We're in a boat. We're going to feel these waves a little bit, like the rocking of the boat. They're not big waves. We're not in the ocean, but we're figuring out where we're sailing to next. And so we just need to be nimble. And like the way it's going to feel right now in this river is just a little different than it's felt in the past. Because I just felt like I didn't want them to interpret things that are happening and to go, this is super chaotic. Why isn't it like it was in the past? Or what's the plan? And to be able to give some visual to them to say, this is how I want you to think about the next few weeks of how we're going to live and be a team together. I think it helped them to go, oh, you know, like that flow when you're rocking in a boat. We've all sat in a boat and like felt, it doesn't feel like you're on dry land, but it doesn't have to feel scary or chaotic or, you know, erratic or make us frustrated. So
I love that metaphor of the boat. You were so quickly able to see that with your team, with your individualization, and then bring in a story, a metaphor with your communication.
thanks.
So leaning on that,
Thanks.
leaning on that. And I think so many times we're trying to be like somebody else because we've seen them operate. You can probably think of leaders you've had that were incredible or people. And then what we realize is we're comparing ourselves, and that just drains us.
Yeah.
So what can we do to help build ourselves, just focus on those strengths? That's why it's important every day to think, okay, what have I got to do today? And what strength am I going to use? And then what core value is going to help me boost me through that?
Yeah.
For you, you've got that authenticity. So I saw that kind of woven in there in that story with your strategic, like, okay, guys, this is going to feel a little, but I want to be transparent with you. You know, we don't know what this is going to look like right this minute, but I'm going to keep you posted along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all a team needs to hear. Even if you don't know, just saying, I don't know.
But there is that pressure, right? Like this other leader, the comparison game is always there, the imposter syndrome. Right? If I were someone else, I'd already be able to know the plan and tell it to the team, right? And so I think I had to like own up with the fact of like, it's okay. And I feel content and confident in the fact that like we're figuring things out. I just need to communicate with the team and help manage their expectations, right? And forget about so-and-so and how they would lead this team. I'm the leader for such a time as this, you know, today. And how do I show up authentically? So
absolutely. And in your business, it's always changing. Marketing is always changing, and it's very dynamic. You would probably not be happy in a environment that's not dynamic, because you've got number 5 is activator. Let's go. Let's get things going. So what does that look like? So how are we helping bring people along, but also activate as we're going? Because again, there's that energy. Yeah. So as we get into, and on page 91 of the book, 90 and 91, we get into the steps of creating your own personal mission statement. And one of the key things, and you know this as a marketer and as an excellent marketer, is that who do you care the most about serving? And when you're thinking about your family and you're thinking about your clients and you're thinking about who am I serving in this work environment and who is that? And I think you said B2B is who you serve. Is that right?
Primarily, yeah.
You really focus. I think if we're trying to serve everybody and everything, even if you're not in a leadership position like Dominique, you're still a leader. It might be a community group. It might be a Bible study group. It might be a HOA group, whatever, but you are still a leader. So who do you want to serve? That's number one. And then what is the impact that you want to make? What's the transformation you want to make after you work with them? And you probably know a little bit of this in your head already because you do a lot of this with your clients. But what is the transformation that you want to make for your clients or for your people or for yourself with people you interact with? It might be, because we're talking about personal mission statement here, it might not be just all those people. It might be just whoever you interact with.
Yeah.
So it's thinking through that.
Yeah, it's interesting too when you talk about the who, because I think it's hard for me to unify the who at work and the who kind of outside work. So that's something I just kind of want to put a pin in and do a little bit more deeper work in. Even one of the things that I've realized, and I don't know if this comes back to something about my strengths, but on the work side, I've realized I care a lot less about being like niching down into a specific industry or type of business. And I care a lot more about the mindset of the leader or leadership teams that I'm partnering with. And so that's been a little bit more of the focus, is the who and who I can help and who I'm best suited to serve and to grow, is like really comes down a lot more to the psychological and emotional dynamics of that team, as well as just like the season of the business, that sort of thing. But it really could be this type of business or that type of business, but it has a lot to do with how people want to solve the issues in their business around business growth, sales, and marketing, the things they believe, how growth minded they are, what they've tried in the past, those kinds of things, than like focusing on accountants or architects or, software or something like that. So
I hear from you that individualization of that. I want to get in with that person, just like your story from last week.
Yeah.
Got in and you found some common ground and y'all had a moment of sharing some compatibility. So we want to create those moments a lot.
Yeah.
And then I think it's about, your strengths and your values. So what, how you uniquely create change, or like what you're talking about right now with your team. And then we get into like, what are the things that come up? And when we talked about your values, your core values, I heard a lot about transparency. I heard a lot about your belief, the family thing. So being able to serve others, but also serve your family might be something that comes in there. You said they're at this time in their life where they're fun and, no more diapers and they're talking and they're little people. And so how do you create a mission statement that serves your family and the leaders you want to serve? And so what you want to do is think about the impact that you want to make on those people. So sometimes we're thinking about just who we want to serve, but also thinking about the impact. And for you, it's like, what is the impact? Because you're going to think about the audience and the impact into one bold sentence. So an example is, I empower leaders to discover their strengths and fulfill their purpose. I hear that a lot with some of the coaches I work with. And then, as you know, is it clear? Is it memorable? Is it authentically represent you? One of the things that I did, started working on my personal mission statement about 8 years ago, and I didn't know where it was taking me. But I found that every day in the Strengths Journal, which is a journal I created 5 years ago to help me live in my strengths every day and was licensed by Gallup, I found that I put that in there. What is my impact that I want to make today and why? And it's about transforming life. So my statement says, I help leaders birth their purpose. So birth their purpose is my individualization, just like you have. And purpose is my core value. And live as leaders, people I serve, in their strengths every day. And I added every day as my impact, because I learned that this work on ourselves, this internal work, that's why it's internal revolution. It's not just take this program and you're good to go. It's how we talk to ourselves, how we lead ourselves every day. And what I learned is like 75% of us have all kind of worked on changing ourselves from external factors. And this is all internal. And so it's really, as we talked about earlier, going inside yourself and figuring this out. There's nothing external, because you're going to control it. So as you think through that process and work through that process, what's coming up for you as questions as you're thinking about building this mission statement? What do you think is going to be the biggest challenge for you?
Well, I think first I just want to comment on something you said about living things out daily. And you said in the book, in that section, there's this really powerful question of like, can I use it to guide daily choices? And I think what I'm realizing about, if as being someone who knows her strengths and has core values, but lacks a clear mission statement, is that I'm someone who's very intense and goal oriented, but I can end up being intense in the wrong direction. Strategic, right? It's like, what's the strategy, Dominique? Where are you headed, right? Like, where's the strategy? And so I love the idea that a mission statement helps direct all of the energy that you're putting into the different things that you're doing. It creates a filter for what to say yes to and what to say no to, what feels on mission and what doesn't, right? And then this idea that, Dana, your expertise is even helping people not just to have it be aspirational, but to bring it down into daily choices. And I think I'm really good personally about trying to optimize my day and thinking about my routines. And, like I have goals, but I'm really not doing the discipline of sitting down and writing, okay, at the end of the next 10 years, where do I want it to lead me? At the end of the next 30 years, where do I hope I end up? What do I want my life's work or life's contribution to be in relationships and work, et cetera? And I just feel really inspired to be more disciplined in that regard and hold my feet to the fire in that. And I think I'm inspired by you that like people do this every day. You can do it, Dominique.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
It's every day. It's an everyday thing. And I think because your authentic imprint assessment we took, it showed us that you are high in your strengths and you're high in definitely in your core values. So it's just tweaking, getting that mission statement figured out. And then daily, what I'd like to talk about next is how do you apply that in the day with your emotional recognition? So you're off to work, off to meet a client, something happens with your kid, or something happens with one of your coworkers and you've got to shift, right? And it's learning throughout the day to take a breath and ask, oh my gosh, this just happened, because your activator is going to go.
Yeah.
How have you seen it help you in those situations, your activator?
I had a situation last week where I was like, I'm not doing this well, where we were just really go, 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 go. So, my typical day is I'm have a very involved morning routine around like working out and spending time in the Word and getting our kids off to school and spending some quality time with them and all of that. And then I'm starting my work day. And then as soon as that's done, the kids are in the door and I'm like on until literally they're in bed. And I don't have any downtime there. And so then once they're in bed, I usually have a laundry list of things that I'm like trying to work on, whether that's for hobbies or for different things for our home. And I realized that I started laying awake at night, or like my body was waking me up at like 4:30 in the morning, an hour before my alarm usually gets on, where I was digesting all the things that I didn't create the white space for in my day to process. And so I was realizing that my body was like responding to, you have not given yourself the emotional space for this. So now I'm going to wake you up and make you do it. And I was like, okay, I need to develop more, like maybe it's before the kids come in the door. Maybe it's taking a walk even while they're home, just within a safe distance or something like that. But I need some sort of white space that's like my time for my brain to just settle down from what's happened in the day. And so that needs to work its way in. Maybe I need to elevate the core value of balance or of, rest, or I don't know, but I tend to just go, go, go activator. Right. And sometimes it's a basement, not just a balcony. Sometimes it's a weakness. It can work against me. So
what of your strengths can you use to help you with that? When you see that you're overwhelmed and you've got all these things you're trying to do, you're kind of living your day in default, even though you've kind of planned out your day and you've got, you're doing all those things in the morning, but somehow that white space didn't get to happen in that day. So what can you use in your strengths that can help you plan that each day?
Yeah, I have ideation and positivity down in like 8 and 9. And I'm thinking about just having like creating some space for that ideation is helpful. Like that's the other thing that's like waking me up, right? It's like all the ideas and things like that. And then I think just the belief part of that, of just like knowing that, reminding myself like it's okay to just take a minute for yourself, or the belief, like, just you're, I don't know, just that's kind of how I think about it, is like just that sort of higher mission of like, I need to watch out for me, and just that I deserve a minute to just rest, breathe, get perspective. So
what I'm hearing is sometimes we start our day, we do our workout, our quiet time, we do all that, we get the kid, but then we really haven't had that thinking time. Well, you've got ideation, which is strategic thinking. You've also got strategic. So how do you carve out some thinking white space in your schedule each day? And this is living your day by design instead of default.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm hearing from you, that will help your well-being when you have that white space to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And it's just, so for some entrepreneurs, they block a Monday or a Friday for that. Some say, I just need a little bit each day. So I'm going to block, lunchtime or whatever it is, because you're so outgoing. You have so many connections. You're just such a great networker. That's that communication, individualization going. It's like, ooh, I need to pull out my strategic and see what I can do here. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure people that are watching this and have a practice of meditation during the day are like, you need to meditate. You need to have
Yeah.
meditation. And I have long kind of resisted that. But I think even a baby step to that would be wrapping up my day, just taking 5 good deep breaths, instead of like, okay, did I check everything off the to-do list? But that
Mhm.
the last thing I do as I wrap out my workday is just like 5 deep breaths, like getting that oxygen and just slowing down might be really helpful. Someday I'll be a meditator, but not quite yet.
Yeah, and that's okay. Do what works for you right now in this season.
Yeah.
For some people, they don't start meditating till later in life. Some they're doing it right now, but whatever it is where you have that white space, because I hear you, that
Yeah.
will give you a lot of energy. We want to think about what's going to give you energy each day as you're managing your day. That also helps with your well-being.
Yeah.
So as we get ready to close out, Dominique, this has been so fun to be with you. And thank you for being vulnerable and sharing. What's one action item you're going to take from today as you get ready to work on your mission statement?
Yeah. Well, you so graciously mailed me a copy of this book and it's so amazing. I cannot wait. So I might just dive right into page 90 and just read that and then go back and read the book from front to
Mhm.
back. But I think starting there is really what I want to do. And then, you've given me a lot of things to think through. And so I just think setting aside some time this afternoon to just write where I want to get going with my mission statement would be really helpful. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Congratulations on this book. It's so
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you. And you exactly epitomize what I want people to do. I don't want them to feel like they have to go from A to Z. I want them to look through there and see, okay, I need to work on this right now.
Yeah.
And what's going to be cool is I want you to take the assessment again after you work with your coach and after you do your
Yeah.
mission, and then see where you are after you read page 90 and go through that. I'd love to hear where you are and what's
Fantastic.
speaking to you and how things are changing. So remember, this is one of my sayings that I have in the book, that changing me changes everything. So really focusing the effort on you. And then because you're so serving everybody else out there. So
Yeah.
we thank you for that. And all you do, and your creativeness in the workplace is incredible. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for being here today.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming, and make sure that you follow up with Dana and check out all that she's up to. I'm so proud and so excited for you, Dana.
Thank
Congrats.
you. Thank you so much.